Buenos días a cada una de ustedes. Me da mucha alegría poderla saludar de nuevo
Good
y
morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to
encontrarnos en
greet
este
everyone
día con
today
la energía del día de
and see
hoy.
you with this energy
Algunos
today.
ya vivieron la mañana,
Some
otros
of you already have their morning, some of you are in
están ya tarde
at
noche.
noon, and some are already mid-evening.
Este día y sabemos que a nivel del mundo
We know that at the level of the world,
con algunas
we're all
regiones
going through some droughts
de sequía y no hay lluvia.
and there's no rain.
Tuviéramos lluvia en nuestros
It should be raining in most places
Entonces
right now.
vamos a hacer
So today we're going to,
de manera
each one of you,
hacia unas 4 pueden unirse para
some of you
pedir
can join us and we can ask
por la llegada
for
de la
rain,
lluvia a nuestros territorios,
for rain to come into each of our territories.
el planeta,
Because we know that the planet,
las
Mother
semillas,
Earth,
las flores,
the seeds, the
y todos los
flowers,
elementos, las
and all
personas
the
en
elements
general
and the
necesitamos
people,
agua.
humanity, we
Así
need
que vamos
water.
a iniciar poniendo
So
nuestras
we're going to
manos
start today
abiertas.
putting our hands open. Let's
Y si
open our
pueden
hands.
abrir sus cámaras quienes ya están,
Now open your cameras, please, if you can as well.
esta mañana,
We're
esta
going to ask this
mediodía,
morning
esta
for
tarde,
this
esta
energy,
noche, porque
for
la
this
sagrada
close to the
lluvia
evening
llegue
for
a
most of
nuestros
you,
pueblos,
so that the
nuestros
rain comes to us,
territorios.
to our territories.
Oramos, pedimos
We
a la
pray and
madre
ask,
lluvia, a la madre lluvia,
grandmother rain,
a
mother
la
rain,
niña y a la lluvia joven,
the child rain, and the
a
youth rain,
nuestras tierras,
that they come to our land,
que con amor y
that it
ternura
comes
al
down
regar
with
los
love and
campos
tender, to
hacen
water
florecer
our
las
field,
semillas, a
to flowers our
refrescar
seed,
las
to
tierras,
refresh the
los
lands,
caminos,
the
los
paths,
pueblos, las
the
familias,
towns, the
con
families,
dulce agua salada,
great water, salt water.
con amor,
May it
con
come down
ternura.
with love and
Pedimos
tenderness.
disculpas porque la hemos
We ask for
contaminado,
your forgiveness
porque le
for
hemos
having polluted you,
hecho daño,
for
porque le
having
hemos ignorado su
harmed you,
fuerza.
and for
Hoy
not
estamos
taking into account your
sintiendo
strength.
calores sofocantes.
But we are feeling the
Hoy
heat
estamos
it is
viviendo
here.
sequías. Se
We're
están
feeling the drought.
secando ríos,
We are in
lagos,
rivers, we're in
lagunas.
drought, we're in
El agua no
dry.
está llegando. Las
Water is
aves
not coming to
piden
many places.
agua.
Birds are asking for
Nos
water.
inclinamos ante usted y
We bow
pedimos
to you
sagrada agua
and
que
ask
llegue a nuestras tierras,
that you
a
come to our
nuestros
land,
territorios,
to
a
our
nuestros
territory,
pueblos,
to
con
our
amor y
towns,
con ternura.
with love and
Y
tenderness.
recibimos la
And we
lluvia
receive
en
it
nuestro corazón
and take it
y
in our,
nos comprometemos a cuidar el agua que hoy
and
tenemos
we promise to
por
take care
las
of our water
presentes y futuras
for
generaciones
the present
de
and future
niñas, de
generation
niños, de
of boys
jóvenes,
and girls,
de jóvenes, de adultos y adultas, de
of
abuelos y
adults and
abuelas,
youth,
de las aves, de todos los
of the
animales y las
white,
especies,
of all the
de
animals, of
todas
all
las
the species,
semillas
of all the
que
seeds,
llegaron con
we
amor y
know will come
ternura.
with love and tenderness.
Bienvenida.
Welcome.
Si alguien desea hacer una
If
invocación,
anyone else wants to add into that
también lo
prayer,
puede hacer.
you
¿Alguien
can
más
also make it now, please. If anyone else wants to
para
join us,
pedir el agua?
asking for rain, asking for water.
A mí me gustaría.
Por favor, Samay.
Sí, quiero
Thank you, Tamai.
invocar
Yes,
al lago
I want
específicamente
to
a
ask
nuestra
water,
laguna ancestral
especially our
Pacucha, en la cual están todas
ancestral
las comunidades
lagoon where we have
alrededor.
all the communities
Es la mía,
around us. That's my
Manaimba
community as well,
Kuchikuchkuta,
around that.
Anda Yupaychan y Kunangama Charias Kamanda, Chaymanda Paginini, Kay Piñukanchi Warmi Kunata Stawan, Hamutaspa y Pakatingi, querida madre agua, mamá Imbacucha,
Dear Mother Water,
ancestral,
ancestral
lagoon
water,
milenaria,
lagoon,
quiero
originary,
agradecerte e
I want to
invocarte
thank you and ask
para
for you
que tú con tu agua sagrada
that with
a
your
todas
sacred water
nosotras puedas
to each
seguirnos
one of us,
ayudando
may
a
you
clarificar
continue helping
nuestros
to
pensamientos,
make
nuestros
clear our thoughts,
sentimientos, a continuar
feelings,
con cada una de nuestras
and when we will continue
motivaciones
which
en
one of
nuestros
our motivations
territorios, a
territories
fortalecernos como
to
hermanas,
strengthen also
ya sea a nivel territorial, a nivel
in
más
the
regional.
territory at regional level.
Querida Madre Agua, quiero
Thank
darte
you,
las
Mother
gracias
Water. I want to
y
say
quiero
thank
que
you
estés
again,
presente con
and I
nosotras
want you to be
aquí,
present
como
with us
todas las
today.
mujeres. Muchas
With
gracias.
all the ways, thank you.
Gracias, Samay. ¿Alguien más que quiera pedir, llamar el agua para nuestros territorios?
Anyone
La
else who wants
sagrada
to
lluvia.
call on water? Wants to say a prayer for water, to ask for rain?
¿Alguien más?
else?
Muy bien. Si no hubiera alguien, entonces
Huh?
vamos a dar
Then
por
we'll proceed
iniciada esta segunda
with
Good
this
sesión.
morning.
session.
¿Sí?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you
Naina,
talk, teacher?
bienvenida. La escuchamos.
Good morning, teacher. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to my dear sisters. Yeah. First of all, I thank you for Mother Earth and great Mother Earth. We humbly ask you for a blessing of rain. Thank you.
Gracias, Naina. ¿Alguien más?
Thank you, Naina. Anyone else?
Quisiera pedir y agradecer la llegada
Someone
del
else who
agua,
wants
de la
to
lluvia.
talk about water, asking for rain to come to
Muy
us?
bien. Si no es así, vamos a afirmar.
No, we're going to affirm
que la sagrada lluvia llega a nuestros territorios, que escucha nuestra voz, que viene con amor, con cariño, con
that
ternura.
it comes, that it try to come with tenderness, with love.
Nos comprometemos a amarla,
We
cuidarla
are
y a
committed to
respetarla.
loving you, to
Así
respecting
como
you,
nosotras nos
to
amamos,
protect you,
nos
just
cuidamos
as
y nos
we love
respetamos.
ourselves,
Daisy,
protect
bienvenida.
ourselves.
Daisy tiene levantada la mano.
Daisy, you want to say something?
La escuchamos.
Daisy, would you like to say something?
Daisy tiene dificultad en su conexión. ¿La escuchamos, Daisy?
We can see you, but we can't hear you.
Creo que perdió señal.
And
Muy bien. Bueno, lamentamos mucho. Yo sé que cada una tiene palabras, sentimientos que expresar, pero quizá nuestra conexión a Internet está débil, entonces eso nos limita. Sin embargo, vamos a agradecer y a pedir que todas podamos fluir como el agua, que este proceso de investigación que estamos ya por concluir, ya terminamos el mes de mayo.
we already finished the month of May. We are pretty much talking into the field research, and they have flown as water as well. And may you have some doors open and your paths open, and that you may have recovered the feeling and thinking of the systems of life of women, of the towns, of families, communities that we visited. We thank that, and we ask for the heart of the sky at the land, to the land of the heart of the water. So thank you for everything we received. Thank you for this morning. Thank you for the morning, for the afternoon, the evening. Welcome everyone. We're going to continue this campaign for today. We have 3 moments for today. First one is you're going to share your budget, exercise of your budget. We're going to take at least 3 minutes, 5 minutes each for presentation. If you need to share your screen, you can do that as well, to tell us how your budget looks like once you develop that in your community, with the group, and with the people you're working with your incidents. We're going to do that first part. The second part would be a brief explanation on the indicators that you were supposed to have in your incident plans. Just a basic formulation of indicators with the objective of defining the results and the indicators for those results. And from there, we're going to be looking at how we can do a monitoring plan.
Con eso cerramos la segunda parte y la última parte va a ser información general.
And then we'll do
en
general
relación a los
information
avances de la investigación de campo,
on the research,
las
on
fechas
field
que
research,
tenemos para
the dates that we
presentación de
have
los
for
resultados
presenting,
preliminares de envío del informe borrador de la
so the
investigación,
draft that we needed for the
el
research,
plan ya formulado de manera
already
participativa,
formulated for the research,
las jornadas que vamos a tener para presentación a
the
nivel
campaigns that we're going to be
internacional,
having for that,
y luego vamos a informarles
and
del
then
proceso que
tell
tenemos
you about the
hasta el
process that
20
we
de
have
julio y luego
until we get to
21 de
July, and then our
Esos
meeting
son
in
los tres
August.
momentos. Les pediría
Those
que
are the three
estén
moments that
de
we have.
principio a fin,
I hope you
sin
can stay from
interrumpir y con
start to
ustedes
finish.
dentro de la actividad. Sé que
Within the
hay muchas
activity,
labores que realizar,
I know
pero
there's
cada
many
uno de
things that we need
ustedes
to be
tiene el
done,
compromiso de estar
but I know we will have the
sesiones y
commitment to be
aportar.
here, to be in the
Entonces
sessions to
vamos
provide
a
us.
iniciar con la presentación. Vamos a empezar con la presentación de los presupuestos. Yo voy a ir diciendo, vamos a empezar con Abyayala, luego seguimos con África y luego seguimos con Asia para la presentación de sus presupuestos.
We start with
Vamos a
Aisha, and then
empezar
to present the
con Jesse,
budget. So we'll start today with
luego
Jesse,
con su presupuesto, luego iríamos con Samay,
then with
luego
Samai,
iríamos con Liz,
then
que son las que
Liz
tenemos por ahorita,
that we have
y
right now,
nombrando a las demás.
and then I'll be
Entonces,
naming the rest.
con Jesse
Okay.
y
So
luego con
Jesse,
Samay.
please,
¿Cómo
then
va el
Samai,
presupuesto? Si nos lo
how will your
puede
budget go?
presentar, por
If
favor,
you can
Jesse.
present that to us, please,
Bienvenido.
Jesse. Morning. Welcome.
Buenos días a todas, queridas
Good morning,
compañeras.
everyone.
Buenos días, Jesse.
Good morning, Jesse.
Yo, bueno, ahorita que la escuchaba,
Now I want to listen to you.
tengo una duda porque
I have a doubt
yo hice el plan de
because
incidencia
I
y
did
el
an incident plan
presupuesto.
and a budget,
Digamos, si algunas actividades son parte
and some
del
activities
proyecto de
are part
investigación,
of the
pero yo
research
veo
project.
un plan de incidencia
But I
algo
think about an incident
más
plan
a largo,
as something else,
mediano o largo plazo.
to more
Entonces,
midterm, long term.
y también entiendo que
So,
previo al plan de incidencia
and I also
debe
understand that
ser
besides
esto que
that,
estamos trabajando, ¿no? Que es
we're working on this
el
before,
proceso
like
mismo de
like
investigación.
the research itself.
Entonces yo hice el plan de incidencia
So
y como
I
tengo
did
un
an incident
presupuesto,
plan and a
pensándolo
budget,
así, como
thinking
digamos
in that manner,
otra etapa más,
just like an extra stage
que, que, que algunas de las actividades
that
son
some of the
parte
activities are going to be part
de esto que estamos haciendo ya, del
of
diplomado,
this that we're
pero
doing,
otras más que tienen que ver
but there are
también
going to
así
be
como con
others,
realizar más, sobre todo
especially
reuniones, ¿no? Y acuerdos con
with meetings and
autoridades
agreements that
y
you can have with
también
authorities,
sobre
and then
todo
also
con la realización
with the carrying out
de otros
of
foros o
other
encuentros
forums
para lo
and meetings
que yo quiero lograr, que en este caso
of what I
pues
want
es
to accomplish, which is in this case
en primera instancia pues lo de constituir una red de mujeres indígenas
to create
y
a
que
network of
también por medio
indigenous
de esos
women.
foros o encuentros
And from
pues
those forums,
se dé esta
we can have
creación, ¿no? De una
the
agenda
create
ambiental
of
territorial.
this environmental territorial
Entonces
protection.
voy a presentar lo que
So I'm going to present something
pude trabajar
that I was able to
del
work
Gracias,
presupuesto.
Jesse.
on the budget.
Sí se puede ver, si ves si
Can you see
le
it?
muevo el documento.
Sí,
If
se
not,
ve.
I need to open the document.
Sí,
Gracias.
bueno. Entonces me guié en el primer
All right.
ejemplo
So
porque pues me pareció un poco más
I
explícito, ¿no?
thought that this was more explicit.
Y este plan de o periodo de incidencia
And this
también
incidence
lo
plan
pensé como en otros seis
also was
meses,
thought
¿no?
of towards
Entonces,
6 months.
aquí también en un primer rubro pues está el
In the
personal,
first
¿no? Que
line,
en este caso
we have the
pues
staff,
es una coordinación,
which is the coordination,
alguien que lleve el trabajo de comunicación, pero pues que sea especialista también, ¿no? Porque pues, ellos tienen sus
and there's a
técnicas.
specialist as well,
Y
because
en
they have
este
their
caso,
technique. And
pues
in this case,
5 personajes
5 people
invitados, ¿no?
who are going to be guests, specialists
en estos
in
foros y encuentros que se van
in this
a
forum
llevar a
and
cabo.
that we're going to be having.
Entonces aquí le puse unidades
So I
que se
put
entiende
this
que son
in units. I put
por 6 meses y
for
como los
6 months,
invitados le puse
and it's
5.
going to be 5 guests. I
Entonces
was
aquí
put
le
5
puse el
there,
costo, la conversión
and then I
en
put the
dólares.
cast
Recuerda
and
que es
convert that into dollars.
em, un poco confuso esto para mí de hacer la
Which is a bit
conversión a
confusing
dólares
for me
porque
to make doing
digamos que por
conversions
referencia
to US
técnica
dollars,
hay
but
diferentes em,
there are different.
es muy cambiante también esto de la moneda del dólar y además los diferentes
This whole
bancos
conversion process is very hard because you have to be
tienen
looking at the different banks. Each bank have their own currency, their own
su
exchange
propio
rate.
tipo de cambio, ¿no? Pero digamos que tomé una medida
But let's say that
aproximada
this is the one that we took an approximate
de 16 pesos
of
mexicanos
16
por
Mexican
dólar, ¿no?
for a
En
dollar,
realidad anda como en 16.50 o 17 entre
which is in
mexicanos
reality is around
y
16.50,
mexicanos.
more or less.
Entonces este rubro de personal me dio un
So
total de
this item of the staff,
6.250.
I left that with, it came down to
Entonces
6,250.
los precios los tomé en consideración,
The
digamos, más o
prices I
menos
took
lo
into
que se paga
consideration
aquí
from
en
what we
México
pay here in Mexico for
la jornada mensual, ¿no?
a monthly campaign, a monthly
Y
day work.
el material didáctico
And the
especializado también,
material,
que son estos
the
que le
special
llaman
material,
papelógrafo,
we talk about the
pluma,
paper,
los
marker,
marcadores. A veces siempre
white sheet of
utilizamos los
paper,
marcadores, sobre todo cuando hacemos este tipo de
um,
investigación
ink for printers.
participativa, ¿no? Porque lo que pretendemos es
What we're trying to do, remember,
pues hacer grupos de
is to do
trabajo, ¿no?
group
Y que
work that they are able
ellos ocupen
to put
este material cuando
this
hacen sus
material
actividades
in their
extracurriculares.
activity.
Las hojas blancas para los oficios
White
que
sheets of
luego se
paper,
están mandando entre personal, entre los servidores públicos, oficios de
within the
invitación,
common servers and the public
instituciones con
and
los
the
consejeros y las
institution
autoridades.
and the other
Y
authorities,
también pues la impresora, ¿no? Pues una vez
and
que
also about the
este
printer.
como grupo ya
The
tenemos
advantage is
impresoras, por
that
ejemplo, tenemos
we
impresora,
already have
tenemos
a printer in our office,
contamos con
so
una cámara profesional, también
we have a
tenemos un
professional
dron
camera as
profesional,
well. We have a drone
y pues algunos materiales, ¿no? Que luego vamos
and some materials
reutilizando.
that we're going to be reusing.
Y también pues me tocó hacer
And then also
investigar en cuánto
do
están
the research
más o menos los precios
on the prices for each one of
de
those
cada uno de
things
estos materiales.
of these materials.
Bambalinas también incluí porque acá siempre se acostumbra mucho como a dar una constancia de participación, ¿no? De asistencia al evento.
And always a
Entonces, pues
certificate
esto
because we're
algo
used to giving
fundamental
people
en
a
ese
certificate of
punto, por eso
participation. So I was
son
thinking about
diferentes a las hojas blancas, ¿no? Están un poco más, más
that this is a separate
resistentes.
type of paper that we use to print a
Y los
certificate.
lápices o lapiceros.
And then the pencils and pens.
Y aquí le puse
And here we put
lona, que en
a
realidad
moon.
es como, pues sí, ¿no?
It's
Una lona o manta, no sé cómo le conocemos.
I'm sorry,
Que se
a banner,
coloca en los eventos, ¿no?
which is
Entonces
placed in the event.
como
se
un
pone
banner.
ahí como el nombre del evento,
So with the name of the event,
así como una malla podría ser. El nombre del evento, del
the name of
proyecto
the event, the
y algunos
project,
datos, ¿no? Ahí que
and
para
some data that
identificar
we can put
como
there
tal
to identify
qué
ourselves,
es lo que se está llevando a
what
cabo.
it is that we're carrying out.
Y este rubro me dio un total de 491. Y
And this came out to
esta parte de
490.
viáticos para reuniones,
And this
entonces
part of the articles for
viáticos
meetings,
para las
uh,
reuniones y para los eventos.
for lodging, for the meetings,
Entonces está primero pues la alimentación, que nada más es desayuno y comida, el transporte entre los municipios y localidades. La
the
región
transportation,
tiene 7 municipios, ¿no?
everything that has to do with
Entonces
travel expenses, so food,
sí hay que
transportation,
estar
and
pues, contamos con un transporte particular, ¿no?
and
Pero
well, we
pues
have
ahí
our own
tenemos que pagar
vehicle, but we also
la
have to pay for
gasolina.
the gas,
Y la gasolina pues acá está
and gas here is
en
very
estos
expensive right now.
25
It's around
pesos, que son
25
como,
for,
déjenme ver, anda como en 25 pesos, que en dólares, ay, perdón, en dólares pues son como $1.50, ¿no? Un poquito más de $1.50.
which is a little bit more about $1.50 per liter.
Y eso es del transporte en la
And
región, ¿no?
this
Pero
in terms of the
digamos el
transports in the
transporte
region.
capital del estado,
But if I have to go to the capital,
esto todavía lo estoy valorando porque
that's something that I'm still taking into account
esto pues
because
sería para
it would be
las, para buscar las alianzas, ¿no? Entre
for
las
getting
provincias que sobre todo
the
están
things
aquí,
that we
donde
need
pues
in terms
no está como muy
with the capital,
centralizado, ¿no?
like something that
El
things are
transporte
centralized
porque
and in
las
that term,
principales dependencias o instituciones
the main
las cuales
dependencies
nosotros
or
vamos a entrar
institutions.
en el
So like the ones
proyecto,
that
las que
we're looking
tengan
into
relación con mi proyecto,
as,
pues
that are related to our
ya están.
project are going to be
Y la
here.
distancia, la realidad es que es larga
And the
porque
distance to reality, well, it's,
son en kilómetros, no lo sé muy bien, pero son
I don't know the distance to kilometers,
entre 5 y 6 horas de
but
viaje
it's
entre
three,
la
6 hours of
que es
traveling from the
Pachuca
capital,
y la región
which is
huasteca.
Pachuca, and the region Huasteca.
Entonces, pues aquí también consideré
So
este rubro.
I also consider this.
También consideré un apoyo para
I
el
also
transporte
consider
para los invitados
a transport, take into account the
para su
transfer for their guests
hospedaje y
and for
para
their
su
lodging
alimentación.
and everything that has to do with their
También
food.
contemplé aquí un apoyo a asistentes
I
que
also
lo requieran.
contemplated the assistance that are
Ahorita
required,
son 10, perdón, no son
which
20.
are it's not 10, it's not 20, it's 10,
Y un refrigerio en cada uno de estos
and
encuentros,
a
sobre
snack
todo
for the
porque
beginning, for the
a
meetings,
veces, aunque
because
programamos las
sometimes
jornadas
we
en un
program
periodo pues no tan
our
largo,
activities were very
finalmente
long,
pues tienden a
and generally
extenderse, ¿no?
speaking,
Ya nos ha pasado también que
they tend to extend, so
decimos,
we
bueno,
know
hay
that
que
happens.
esperar el evento y
So we
pues
call them at a
surgen
certain time,
situaciones
and then
educativas,
we have educational
requisitorios
people come in and
y, y se nos lleva,
officers
¿no?
come
Algo de
in,
tiempo.
and
Entonces,
that takes time.
lo pensé sobre todo por ahorita en
So,
estos
and I was
tiempos
thinking
pues que
about
estamos
this
porque
because in this time in which
la
we're
región huasteca acá en
as the
México
region,
está llegando a
it's coming
45 grados con
with
sensación
45
térmica a
degrees,
veces hasta de
like
50. Entonces,
thermic
pues
with a thermic feeling of
es
almost 50
imposible
degrees.
pensar hacer estos
So
eventos
it's
sin tener
impossible
por
to
lo
be thinking that this
menos
event
agua, ¿no? Porque
we need to give them at least
pues
water.
imagínense en un
Because
espacio
imagine if in a close
cerrado con
space
gente, el calor
with
pues muy
people,
fuerte,
the heat
entonces pues
with a
también
lot of
para
heat,
evitar
then it's also to help them
que algún asistente no pues se le vaya a dar, no sé,
and that anyone can have like a
cosas
heat
así, ¿no?
stroke
No sabemos a veces cuando
or
la gente
feel
sale
bad.
de su casa si tuvo la oportunidad
If they had the opportunity
de
to have a
desayunar algo, de
breakfast
comer algo, ¿no?
or
Entonces,
to have something to eat.
entonces siempre contemplamos
So
también este
it's just
aspecto.
take that into
Pero
account.
ahorita lo estaba checando, hay un pequeño desfase ahí en las
We
conversiones
have
porque me
in the
salen muy
conversion, what little
diferentes,
detail with
pero
the,
digamos, esto es lo que les puedo
well, let's say this is what
comentar de lo
I
que
can
he
share for the moment,
trabajado.
what I've worked so
Gracias.
far.
Muy
Thank
bien,
you.
Jesse, excelente. Pues la
All
idea
right,
de
Jesse.
tener este
The
presupuesto
idea of
primero
having
es
this budget,
preliminar,
it's
porque es
preliminary
un presupuesto tentativo,
because it's
todavía
still a
no
tentative
tenemos
budget
una
because
idea.
there's still, like
La
Jesse was saying,
transferencia es
the incidence
resultado
plan,
de la
it's a result
investigación.
of the
La
research that you're doing.
investigación nos presenta hallazgos de
The
forma
presentation
gráficas que
shows
irán
us
indicando alarmas
findings
según la temática de cada estudio a los
on where the
gobiernos y
study
las
is,
comunidades indígenas, pero nosotras también presentamos
us
fuerzas, la capacidad de resiliencia. Con esa información definimos
with
lo
that
que podemos
information,
cambiar con
we
nuestra
tell
investigación.
what we can change from our
La
research
investigación es para el
because
largo
the
de
research
formación,
is
entonces
for the
definimos
transformation.
un medio
So we set
que nuestra
a
investigación no
means
quede
for research
en
to
un
not be
documento informativo
left
más,
behind in a
que sea una
document
investigación, es
as
un
an
plan de
information
acción
document.
para
It's
generar
an action
cambios.
plan with this
El plan
incident
de
plans to
incidencia,
generate
como
change.
brevemente recuerdo, es
And the incidence
el
plan
medio, el
is just the
instrumento
channel, it's the means, it's the
de definir
instrument
con
to
claridad el cambio que
define
queremos lograr
clearly the change that we want to
a
accomplish
partir de las evidencias encontradas en el
based
campo.
on the evidence that we have
La
in our
investigación,
research. So the research allows me to
este
present.
cuadro acá. Me
Let me
dicen si
show
lo
you
pueden
this real fast. Can you see it?
si se ve. Muy bien. Entonces vemos acá Solo para recordar, la investigación nos va a dar como resultado un estudio de caso que presenta la problemática,
Research is going
the
to
issues,
provide us
the ways
the
of
case
people, the
study.
rights are being violated of
That's
the
going to
original towns and
show
the
us how the
territories
situation is
based on
happening
the
with
topic that
women
you
or with
presented.
the originary people
The
according to your
research is going
topic.
to tell us the
And that's
capacity of
going to let you
resilience,
know all the capability of
of the work, the
resilience, of
proposals,
work, of
of
proposal,
defense
of defense that within that
on the
oppression,
rights of education, of land,
education,
of
and
water,
the world healthy environment, water, that even regardless, women are working, and that's what's going to show.
resultado de este estudio vieron un problema y les
As
preguntamos
a result of the study, you saw a problem, and you say you want to change something. Can't change all the realities, so we're going to build an incidence plan that you have already worked on. The purpose of this plan is that we make it participatory. The ideal aspect is that we present that proposal and we validate and present it with the actors and the communities where we are doing the research. That's the second moment. And for that, we have to be clear in our incidence plan. We're going to have objectives, results, 4 key strategies that you presented. And for each strategy, you have a result. And for each strategy, you have activities. But those activities won't be achieved if you don't have a budget. So to do that key proposal, you have to have your activities well defined because they have to coincide. The activities need to coincide with the budget because for each activity, we're going to have a budget. So that's the relationship. What products are you going to turn in as a result of this course? A case study and an incidence plan with its budget. Why? Because the idea is that this plan can coordinate processes for the management of resources that may be needed for incidence plans. You're also not going to have the plan on the budget because the budget is part of the plan. We're not going to present a plan here and a budget over there. It's together. It's one package, the plan and the budget. So having that, we're going to design a basic monitoring process. Because in July and August, we present results, but some of your incidence plans may have a period, as Jesse said, that are of long term. Let's think of short term, 1 year, and midterm, 2 years. When are you going to achieve? What are you going to achieve? Oh, a water management plan. That public policy of care and defense of water is not going to be achieved in 6 months. Maybe it's going to take 1 or 2 years. And we're going to need activities, budgets, and alliance processes. So how are we going to make sure that it's being complied with? Our monitoring and evaluation process. That's to make sure that we state that the plan is a result of a research process. And that plan needs to be a process that is participatory. Right now, you have an advance that is important. The idea is that it's validated with a group or part of the population with which you're doing the research. We thank Jesse. The plan is very well made. Maybe there are some details and data that could be a little bit more exact. We have to check if that budget covers all the activities that you have established in your incidence plan. But the important part is that you have that ready. Thank you, Jesse. And we're going to move forward with the exercise in terms of the type of change that Jesse was saying. Yes, it varies, and we have to define. In Guatemala, we have the Bank of Guatemala, which is what gives us the currency change. And we have to look for that change, for that currency change, or that currency amount that tells us, how much for a dollar, and that's a daily. It changes daily. And we're going to base off of the currency change of that day they were sending the budget. So your plan is of how many years? 1 year, 6 years, 6 months, 2 years? It's a 1-year plan, especially because we have the feedback of another project that was done before, and we realized that in 6 months you really can't achieve much because we're not doing it 100% this. So we have other jobs, we live in different places, and so it's a year is kind of the shortest period that we could do something like this that could be significant, really. Okay, thank you, Jesse. Now we're going to move on to Samai. If you have your plan, welcome. Your budget. I think Samai is looking to connect. We're going to give her some time. Okay, so it is important that we're clear of the process to see where we're at this time. Samai is connecting. Welcome, Samai. If you can please share your budget with us. Good morning, Lorena. I have problems. I'm from my phone. Maybe if somebody else can join and then I can try connecting from the computer. Maybe we can ask Liz and then Jenny. They can present their plan, please, of your budget, of your incidents plan. Liz? Good morning, Sister Lore. I'm also having issues with connectivity. I'm connecting the computer to be able to present my screen. So I would also ask, I'm also doing it with my phone. You can help me. Dunan, can you help me presenting? Because I did upload it to the platform and then I can speak from here, maybe to save some time. Dunan, is that possible? Can you send it to me by WhatsApp and I will send it to Javier and Otis so they can help us project it, please.
En tanto se hace ese proceso, vamos a ver si Jenny Lynn tiene su presupuesto.
Buenos días. Buenas
Bienvenida,
tardes.
buenos días.
Good morning and afternoon to all of you.
Voy a compartir entonces
I'm going to share
lo que hice del presupuesto.
what I did for my budget.
Ahí ve mi pantalla.
Can you see my screen? Yes, we can see it.
Bueno, no lo hice
Okay,
en dólares.
so I didn't do it in dollars.
Lo hice en pesos colombianos.
I did it in Colombian pesos because it's very complicated, the dollar situation. So here I took into consideration 4 items, 5 items, sorry. The first one was in regards to personnel and a coordinator, which is a person who's going to make, who take on the relationship and to do the request the presence of the committee, and another person who's going to be in charge of communications so that they can draft or create or audiovisual formats for publishings and those designs. And she's going to be in charge of communication. I added for 12 months, for a year, the price of the coordinator and the person for communications, 2,500,000. In information, I put a leader that was going to be trained so that maybe they can be a part of it. that they are a part of the committee, that they're going to be organized. Maybe it's a way to get organized and see how that is going to be done, that we have a clarity in terms of that strategy that we're going to implement. So maybe it's just for 3 days, because we're going to have that coordinator that's going to carry out the part of the relation. I would like to strengthen that strategy that is going to be implemented. In terms of logistics, for the different travels, I put the transportation for trajectory, which is a vehicle. It would be 600 pesos per trajectory. And local transportation in the communities. Oh, I didn't add food. I see that I didn't add food or board, food and room and board. Or you could complete it later. And materials, I also added what we're going to require, like the ink for the printer, tape, paper, printing out of brochures, markers, poster board. Here I added some financial budgets that I also think could be necessary. And this is a little bit when we're going to visit a community, we also add, we bring a gift. So I added that as well. I added it as well to my budget. I didn't put food and room and board, unfortunately, but I'll complete it. Thank you, Jenny. I don't know if any of you wanted to make a comment or a question for Jenny. If not, I thank you for your effort and your work that you have done. Please remember that your budget
Si en mi plan está
is going to respond.
Por hacer una política pública, lograr una política pública para que se defina y recupere las prácticas de reciclaje en la comunidad Guayú, por
If in
ejemplo.
my plan I have creating a change or an incidence in the Wayu community, everything needs, my activities need to point towards achieving that policy. And what activities am I going to do? Oh, mobilization, workshops, coordination, etc. So let's not forget that our budget responds to our activities of the incidence plan. And the activities respond to the strategies, and the strategies to the great change that we want to achieve. So to have that budget tells us, no, it's not as easy to say, oh, I'm just going to go I'm going to do this tentatively. No, we have to be able to achieve that change. And it becomes a project that is going to be sustained in a research. Not an idea that came because you dreamt it or somebody told you about it. No, you back it up. You back up your incidence plan, and within this, your budget in research, in your research. So we are going to keep the commitment that this is going to move forward. Thank you, Jenny. We're going to move forward. Here we have the FIMI's presentation, I believe. Please, I ask Otis or whoever corresponds to present it for us. I think Jenny, you did a really good job also. Thank you.
Es el presupuesto, veamos, debe de estar abajo.
Budget should be at the bottom. Let's go down.
Creo que es el archivo que se llama Guía de Elaboración
I think it's the file that's guide for the budget proposal. I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay. What's important of sharing, the importance of sharing is that we can see that it's not impossible, that we all can do our budget and that this one responds to our activities. And according to what we're knowing of the different budgets, we can provide feedback to our proposal. I also downloaded it, but thank you for projecting it, for showing it. I have to say that I was very limited when I made this plan. And the reason is because of a previous experience. And I think maybe I should have started with a question. It's like, how do we finance this? Is this financed with what FIMI is helping us with, or is it financed? That's what I want to know. I wanted to do something huge, beautiful, but it's already happened that I propose it, but if there's no money, it doesn't work. So I try to work with the resources that I have. And in this case, I limited myself to putting prices and everything that maybe from the organization I could add. For example, here I can't see, I didn't add mobilization. We have the workshop fees and the art to be able to make it public. And then I was also thinking of adding the arts to start talking about sexual violence with a focus towards Quechua women and in our language, and do it like mixed. So it's 4 workshops. That's why it's in the 4 units. The arts are, I really have to check what the cost is to see. I even think that we could do it with Canva, but I was also even thinking to do it more beautiful. And as Jesse was saying, have a person who's a specialist that can provide support for this process. Then we have the material. And in the material, I feel it's very important to have some kids that will allow for us to turn it into each participant, which is why I had added this. And for each participant, think not only in a space. Give me 1 second, I'm sorry. We're going to try to answer Samai and all of you. In fact, for the incidence budget, there is no budget. It's not provided for by FIMI. Sorry. I was saying that the incidence budget is not provided by FIMI. What FIMI provided is for the case study. The budget that we are looking into that is generated from your incidence plan is it's a homework that you have to look for, you have to acquire at an internal level with organizations. Probably we could not a FIMI commitment, but maybe we could try to help you how to follow up. But FIMI does not have this established, just to clarify that. But if we have a very fine-tuned budget, you can have an incidence plan, a project, make that a project. And you can start and negotiate with any kind of instance. That's the most important part, that we have a concrete product from your research. And you say, my plan is backed up from the research with concrete plans and realities. And I feel like there's a lot of possibility that each one, that it's backed up. I mean, every person knows what the situation in territories is like. Not a bad idea that within FIMI, we can ask for help, but FIMI doesn't currently have resources to finance that. Yes, that's why I was very limited. Maybe I could add everything, but it's already happened that I present a large project. But when we look for budgets are very limited, thinking that here there are no organizational bases like in other communities. So that also those networks, they help you to find funds, but we don't have that access. So I was limited in adding this I thought that the incidence plans, I would do it from my own personal resources because of these limitations and these alliances that in my incidence plan, like looking for other organizations that maybe I didn't have to find, but maybe support with human resources. So for me, everything that I'm presenting is pretty unreal because it's more an alliance from human resources perspective, inviting people to the young councils and things like that. What we could think is mobilization, how I provide support. So I did wanted to comment that from my experience, what it looks like, and that's why maybe it's not as solid as other presentations because of this limitation of the financial resource and from the realities of the communities. Okay, Samai, thank you. I think that taking into consideration the reality and the context, we do have to make something that is achievable with our own resources and the resources of the community. But we can't stop looking into establishing challenges of creating a budget that's much more complete, that maybe we can dialogue. I'm not committing FIMI, but I think saying we have plans, we have budgets, and look for another area of support. So invite you to make them, or maybe even state courses of how to make alliances. We integrate all budgets and we present them to some instance, all the different actions as a proposal that will be developed in the territories. That could be within time. What's important is to think our activities, that our research is not going to be, it's not going to stay as a document more, but it's going to be a result of concrete actions of change. Some actions are going to be done with our own resources, and so we have to prioritize. And then others, probably we can get support. We don't have experts, and maybe we don't have a person who's an expert in communication, but we can negotiate with an organization that can help us that can provide somebody who's going to be a volunteer. So provide support for volunteers. But the ideal part is to be able to manage that. Meaning, it doesn't mean that if I don't have the resources, I'm not going to implement my plan. Yes, we will implement it according to our capabilities and resources, without thinking and dreaming a little bit even, and look for possibilities. But I think that reflection is very well made. It doesn't mean that we're not going to do it. Doesn't mean that we're not going to lose our focus. We're going to do the budget with that in mind. What I can do with the community, with what I have, and what we can do if we manage our time. I have a point there. It would also be good if we could add what we have that isn't necessarily, that we don't necessarily have to get, and what we do have to get. I think we can see what we have, and what we can get based on what we need. There are some things that I could add, and there are things that I could add in the fees, and maybe I don't have to charge. But it could be more artistic in the arts and such. I feel that what we could modify is, what do I have and what I need to obtain. I think that could be a little bit more realistic. Thank you, Samai, for your support. It would be good to add a column where we say our own personal supplies that we provide from the community and the organization, with what we're going to have. I mean, we don't have the resources, but we have our own resources. So we could add a column where we can add our own, what we are going to bring to the table ourselves within the plan, because I do feel it's important. And we're not going to require food because we're going to go to a friend's house, for example. We're going to go in a bus, but we're all going to take our own food. We're going to go to the Congress and present our proposal, but we're going to go 20 women. We're going to meet up with alliances, ally organizations. And for that, we're going to take our own food, for example. Maybe breakfast, lunch. And maybe they're going to help us, the organizations are going to help us with a dinner. The important part is not thinking that if we don't have all the budget or the resource, then our plan can't move forward. Yes, we have to say, yes, we're going to implement it from the resources that we have. And if we are able to obtain these other resources, we're going to do so. Thank you so much for your comment. We are going to move on to representatives of Africa to comment briefly how they have your plan. We're going to ask Daisy, who else do we have from Africa that they could share? Liz, you have it? Yes, I have my computer. Maybe I can finish in the next 2-3 minutes. I'm going to share it. Is it ready or should we give Daisy the space? I'm sharing it now. Okay, meanwhile, we're going to ask Daisy to get prepared. You can see it? Yes, we can see it. Thank you, sister. So likewise, it was from the proposal how to handle it. We also had questions when having the funds. And when we mention personal and coordination, I think it's the coordination of the project that I will direct. And in budget, I added as a minimum salary, which is of 2,400 Bolivian currency, that in dollars is around 200, a little bit over $200. But the way that it's handled in terms of percentage of a project, well, it's a percentage of a project. We have the financing of $4,000 for the personnel for project coordination, minimum salary, monthly minimum salary for each person at whatever they make in their country. And this is for 6 months. So it's small due to the budget, but it also could be big. So it's kind of like the question that I had. But anyway, I added it here as a coordination. The 4,500, I added it in Bolivian currency, not in dollars, because dollars change very much. And in Bolivia, we're having issues with dollars because they're very high at this time. And now I have a logistics field technician that's going to take other costs and expenses. It's going to take another person who's an expert in that area. So I didn't add it at this time because I know some people manage the basics and maybe we could do this ourselves. Amongst the materials for the communities, we have a notebook to take these pages and start tracing what are the areas where we're going to work in the field. So the subject deals with restoring the soil due to the chemicals that unfortunately are in our municipalities according to the orders of our government. So now we have to restore them to have a healthy soil and have sources of water that are dried off to have life. We don't have a laptop or a printer. I have it and I use it, my own, but it's broken because it's very old. So I added it here as well maybe if we can get a laptop, help us with that. And then experts, it's important to mention the importance of having an, a, an engineer, and they can show us how to handle these chemicals. And so we should have that. An expert from an indigenous communities would be better for these areas. Also, in terms of public policies, there are brothers from the university. Maybe they can help us create alliances and invite them so that they can allow us to know these competencies that come from the government, from the municipality, and from originary peoples. So I didn't add it here at this time because I don't know what it's called. The person is called that knows, the person who knows this knowledge, what they're called, like what profession that is. And so between food, Samai is very right. You can apply what we call Pampa Mesa. If in Ecuador it's Pampa Mesa, we call it Acapi in Bolivia. And it's a help that it's a support that we can get from food. And maybe we could get help in transportation because we need to work, we need to travel very long distances. That's what I was doing, trying to work on establishing a budget for travel and room and board. I didn't add it because it's separate. I added some for the project personnel, another one for external personnel, which are the engineers that we have invited that are going to come to the community and are going to help us with solutions and what other things we could implement to restore the earth. So this is what I have been looking into with the budget for 6 months, although I know that this is a small advance because this is for long term. When we restore a soil, it takes about 5 to 10 years to really see the result. But I think with this small advance, I added it as a 6 month plan. Thank you, Daisy. Sorry, Liz. Thank you, Liz. Are you done or are you? No, I'm done. Thank you. That was my advance with my budget. Perfect. So thank you to Liz as well. We're going to, every time we see more incident plans and how these budgets respond to this change that we want to achieve and to the action that we have established in our plan. So thank you, Liz. We know that this is an exercise that we're making, but it was important to set it. And the ideal part is that you can all provide some feedback and have everybody add their column of our own resources that we're going to provide. Thank you, Liz. Also, the focus of thinking of a person who has a profile that is an expert in agriculture from originary peoples that can provide support instead of promoting a culture of dependence on chemicals is very important, and also help trying to establish somebody who knows the ways of the peoples is also very enriching. Thank you. And I will ask for the energies of light that all the plans that you are establishing could have a heart, head, and strength and move forward. Now we're going to hear Daisy.
Daisy, you're muted.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing good. I'm sorry, last time I think my internet had issues. I'm now using my phone. Can you please help me present, teacher,
Escuchamos.
because my laptop misbehaved, please?
Diríamos, por favor, a Otis o a quien corresponda que
I
pueda
cannot
proyectar la
hear you,
presentación
please.
de Daisy.
We're asking somebody to present it for you.
Okay, thank you. I'll appreciate.
Did you share with somebody in specific?
No, I shared it. I sent it to the module. I submitted
Okay.
on Monday. Yeah.
No tengo acceso a Moodle.
Muy bien. ¿Lo podría mandar por WhatsApp, Daisy?
Daisy, could you send it through WhatsApp?
Okay, let me do it now. I think my sister can go ahead, then I'll present after her. Thank you.
Okay.
Que se lo envía. Perfecto. Muy bien, estamos. Fátima me explica que también tiene el mismo inconveniente de no tener acceso ahorita, entonces si pudiéramos ver en el módulo las presentaciones o si nos la pueden enviar por WhatsApp.
If you guys need assistance presenting, please send your presentations through WhatsApp so that we can have them ready for you whenever it's ready. I'm gonna ask Nukila or Naina if you're ready.
From Africa.
Go ahead. Who asked for the word right now? Was it Nukila or Naina?
Estaba hablando, pero creo que tiene bloqueados también sus problemas con el internet.
Who wants to speak?
¿Cómo estamos con Nukila?
Somebody began speaking and then it went mute.
Si pudiéramos proyectar la de Fátima.
Fatima already sent, so if we can actually project Fatima, that would be fine as well. Fatima,
Hello,
so if
good
you're ready.
morning, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I've sent my in the WhatsApp group because I'm not with my laptop. I'm using my phone, so you can help me.
Ya la tengo, la voy a proyectar. Ahora se la proyecto. Acá está.
Yeah, we're not projected already. Give me a second.
All right, thank you.
Muy bien.
Okay, my get table for
La
preparation
escuchamos,
of the
Fátima.
budget. All right, under the item, we have the accommodation. Under resource type, we have coordination and facilities. Type TV unit, unit type TV night, then unit 2. Then we have transportation, we have coordination and facilitators. Under unit type, we have 6. Under unit, we have 2. Then interview and meeting expenses, community leaders, religious leaders, parents, and youth. We have 30 of them. Under the unit, we have 1. Then daily allowance, we have the young indigenous girls. We have 30 participants as well. 1 unit. Transcription, we have the documentation. We have 1 unit type, we have 1. Under the unit, we have 1. Materials and supplies, we have pens, books, the A4 paper, tape, files, printing, following thing, soap, detergent, water, and snacks. 1. Under the unit, we still have 1. Please, can you scroll up? Down to say, sorry. Then we have admin and institutional fee. We have the personnels. Then unit type we have 6. Then under the unit we have 1. I think that's all about my own budgeting in Saint plan. Thank you.
Muy bien, gracias a Fátima por su
Thank you,
presentación.
Fatima, for your presentation.
También creo que hay un esfuerzo importante
I also think there's a lot of effort that you're putting to quantify,
un valor
to put a cost, a value,
que van a llevar su
to
plan de
activities that each one of your incident plans is going to take into account.
ya tener
I feel that this is something that to have this ordered,
presentación previa,
to have this presentation prior,
ya que cuando
that I would also, when you get a chance to ride,
y definir que
then they have a space for what side is going to be put by the community, what part is going to be put by the organization, and which is going to be like the breakdown without creating expectations. Okay. If whenever you're doing your plan, your incidents plan, don't create expectations, but also make a proposal and then see what can happen with what we have, with our own resources and the possibilities of getting other financing.
Vamos a ver, tenemos ya otras presentaciones.
Okay, we have other presentations.
Me van llegando, las voy a presentar. Ahorita tenemos.
As you come in, I have right now Naina.
Acá su presentación.
We got your presentation ready.
¿Le parece, Nay? Podríamos.
Naina, are you ready?
Ahora la voy a.
Yes, teacher. Presentation is ready, but I'm in my phone.
Estamos. ¿Me escucha?
Yeah, I sent my budget to the group. So, yeah. Yeah. Can I present now?
Se ve
You can start. You can start. Is this your budget?
Yeah. Thank you.
You can start.
And thank you for this support. Yeah, this is my 4 months budget. First, I want to spend with the coordination with the committee leader, women's leader, and other contact person. I put 3,000 for it. This is on Nepalese currency, and at last I converted it in USD. Then second is a communicator. So this is for local contact person who help to contact the local people. So, and third one is research assistant. I want to hire 2 girls to assist with this research, and I want to pay 50,000 for 4 months time. Then goes for stationery expenses. For diary, marker, chart paper, and printing, and yeah. So, and last, I put budget for mobilization, transportation in the fields. The field is little far from my hometown, and for breakfast, lunch, dinner, I segregate a certain amount. And I also want to meet to the Indigenous Nationalities Commission. So it is in capital city. So I want to meet them and talk to them. Yeah, this is my. Thank you.
Are you done?
Yes, thank you.
Gracias, Nay, por su aporte, Naina.
Thank you, Naina, for your presentation. Each one of you is making your plan with as your actions are coming along with your incidents plans, and you try and formulate your budget along the way. I think that's pretty close to what you're going to do. Again, this is a prior process. You're going to refine it once you have it built, once we're done with this research process in the territory. So thank you very much. I think I have another plan here. I have Nina's. I have 9. 9, I want to open up yours.
Okay.
Give me a second. We're going to share it. You're going to present it already so that you can go. Nice. Is yours? Are we good?
Yes, that is mine.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning and good evening. I've just also, yeah, thank you. My budget is breakdown is in dollars. So I have started by allocating the research assistant that will be there helping me during the whole process. And as you've seen, we have the allowance due to the location that we aim to reach. Automatically, they will spend sometimes in those areas. So it's not a go and return area. Sometimes you need to have time there. So we have that as I've located, but also we have a community facilitator, as you can see. And actually the community facilitators are put there, 2 of them. They will be helping in the community, especially in meeting some traditional leaders, or even meeting some prominent people in the community. We need to have a community facilitator who will be part of that. And we have continuously been working with him in other places, her. We have the questionnaires that we printed and some of the stationery that we work on. As you can see, we have diaries, stationery, and other issues that we combine. All that lies there. Where we prepared question, we came out with those questions, we printed, and also we had some diaries that we needed to put down our issues when we needed. But sometimes if you go to the community, you find there are people that can write and they can help also in documenting. We have the accommodation, bed and breakfast in some areas that we will spend time there. We also allocated that. But in refreshment, we may take time interviewing some people or asking some questions. You can't just stay the whole day with the people. You don't give them anything. So based on the research that we are doing, sometimes you go, people are in sorrows, people have some issues. So we kept this as refreshment, and we have been doing that. When we meet, we share those refreshment with them while they are sharing their issues. But in transport, there are areas that we can meet, we can go by bus. So sometimes we take a car. There are areas that are inside interior, so we need to meet there. Sometimes we use the car. We have down, please, can you scroll? We have again transport. There are places that we use the motorcycle. Directly, we fill the motorcycle, we go, because the car cannot reach or the bus cannot reach, and it is further, so we use the motorcycle. But in transport, we kept the driver. Whenever we use the driver, also we facilitate him. The last one, this is other cost, and this is there in case of anything that may arise. I just kept that other cost, which is still to date. Yeah, thank you.
Sí. Nay, muchas gracias por su
Thank you,
presentación.
Nine, for your presentation and your budget. I think let's remember that this budget is it's not for the research. This is a phase that we're already closing. This budget is a budget for executing our incidents plan. because the budget for the research budget, we already used it. We're already using it during the month of May with the research that FIMI facilitated. This budget and the budget that you will need is for the incident plan. Okay, just to remember that, please. I think that you made progress in your budget, but it's not already for the activities, for research activities, but for the results of your research, you're gonna put a change. What's the change that you want to see? And from that change, you want to establish objectives and strategies, the actors that you're gonna have incidents on, and created activities. To fulfill these activities, we need a budget. And based on that budget, that's the one that we're gonna be presenting. That's the one that we're presenting for incident plan. So again, just remember that we need to be ready talking about an incident plan to do the budget. So to recommend you, Naini, to look back at it, check on that, please, but thank you for your presentation. Okay, let's go on the stage now.
Yes, thank you. I'm ready. Kindly present.
Ahora voy. Un momentito. Aquí está. Estamos, Daisy. Bienvenida.
Okay, thank you. Can you please zoom it out a bit today? I'm not seeing that clearly. Okay, I can just view it in the other. Okay, thank you. That's okay. So,
¿Está bien
good
así?
morning. Yeah, I can see it. So, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everyone. So, below is my budget, and on the first item is personnel, and since my research is going to be on issues of girls and on their rights to education and all that, I decided to have two personnel, one of which is the community contact person, because as I told you earlier, I'll need someone in the community that is going to guide me, that when I move around, I have someone in the community, I'm going to be accepted, they're going to be free and open to me. So I'm going to go to the community 4 times. That is how I scheduled it. So in these 4 times, I'm going to have 2 people as I wrote it. So each, I've talked to them and we agreed $30. So for the 4 times, it's going to be $240. Then I'm going to have like a research assistant. This is a youth, because me, I'm from Pokot community, but in the other constituency. So I'm going to have a youth in the constituency where I'm going to do my research. It's not that far from home, but the 3 villages I cited is in the other side of town. So I felt I'll need a youth who's going to help me. And sometimes I cannot cover some things. When he remains back there, he can help me gather some information. And for him, it was $80 4 times. So that is like 320 for research personnel, and all that is going to be like 320, 560. Then on my travel on data collection now, one is on field travel. I'll need to hire a vehicle because right now I'm based in Nairobi. So I have to travel back to the village. My village is 8 hours from Nairobi. So I'm going to hire a vehicle that is like 4 times. But now I'm going to use a bus, which is going to be easier from Nairobi to home. Then now I'm going to hire a vehicle from home to the other village, which is going to make it very easy. And with this, I just realized I'm going to spend like $80 each time, because here to home, it's like $7, coming back $7, then hiring a vehicle. So then after hiring a vehicle, I'm going to have to sleep in the community. And I talked to them and I was told it's $30. And for the 4 nights, it's going to be 120 because I'm going 4 times. And in this 120, it's going to be $15 the night I arrive. Then the night I go to the field, I spend another $15. Then after spending that $15, I'll not sleep again. I'll have to come back to the city. Then I have meals and refreshments. So I just put foods and drinks And in these 4 times I've initiated, it's $20 each time. And this means it's going to be my supper, my lunch, and my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and also water. So I did an approximation, and in each trip for the 4 meals, it's going to be $20 each. And I found out it's going to be 80. So in that, it's 520. Then I have equipment. I'm going to print out some questionnaires. And I said I'm going to print 150 questionnaires, 50 questionnaires per village, because I'm going to get into 3 villages. So 50 per village. And I asked and inquired about the price. So I'm going to spend $1 per questionnaire, which is now $150. Then when I'll be going to see the girls, when I'm going to meet the youth during the village time, when they're going to be in the village squares, I'm going to need some manila papers and some writing materials. And in these, I'm going to spend, each manila paper is $0.6. That is, for the 90 manila papers, I'll require $54. And some marker pens, because you're going to do it like a board. I'm going to write some things on them for like sensitization. The marker pens are going to be like $0.4 each. And in total, they're going to be $20. And so the total in that, materials and equipments, I'm going to spend like $224. Then now in the participants cost, because I'm going to organize community focused groups, I'm going to have like sensitization periods with them. And one is water, because I come from a very dry place, and you cannot call people when you don't have water. There is no water next to the village that I can say, okay, as a community, let's go and fetch water, then we'll drink. So that is going to be very costly to me if I really want to get information from my community. And I'm going to buy 50 packs for the 4 times. It's not one time. So it's going to cost me $200. Then I'm not going to buy something like food for them or stuff, because I've talked with the community leaders and we agreed on water. It's just going to be like few hours with them. Then I'm going to buy, I'm going now to the few that I'm going to interview. I'm only going to interview six people, and this is just like small incentives. So I'm going to give them like $20 each, because I'm going to do it 4 times. Then on other direct costs like communication costs, I am going to buy some data to the community contact persons. I'm going to require some data, because when I'm in the field, there's no Wi-Fi. Like when I'm in the city, I'm going to require a lot of data. I'm going to require a lot of credit and all that. And this one will cost me $15. Then on data management, I'm going to buy a flash disk. That's for like data storage and backup and some other equipment. And these are going to cost me like $15. Then on the trainings, on the community dialogues and focus groups, I will need to give something to the elders or the community leaders, because when you call them to a place, they're going to expect, like, this is our daughter, she's called us. They'll expect something small, not the whole community, but those who are coming to play a big part. Then that's going to cost me like $210. Then, of course, when going out, I was like, something might come up that I don't know. I might get to the community, meet with youth who will probably tell me, we want this and that. So I set aside $6 for anything that might come up, and maybe I'm not prepared for it. So that totals to $2,000. Thank you. I'm done. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Daisy. Thank you, each one of you who sent your plans. Hopefully, all those who have difficulties. Notila, do you have your presentation? Or anyone else who wants to present? Me? If you have your presentation, before I start doing some general observations. If not, we're going to ask that you can work on this, please. Mia, you're going to present?
Are you calling me teacher? I'm sorry.
Are you going to present?
Yeah, it's okay. Yes.
Do you have it to present? Or did you send it?
I'm ready to present. Can I share screen?
Sí, puede, por favor.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, yeah. Here is my budget plan, how I will use them. Good evening, teacher. Good morning, all teachers and my friends. Thank you
Buenas
so much
tardes.
for
Bienvenida.
listen. Can you hear me, teacher?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So here, the way I will here my project plans. I first start with the community contact person. I will have someone to help me. Two person, one youth and a women. For the lump sum, I will spend for 20 for them. So for two of them, I will spend like a lump sum, maybe about 3 times. So I will give them $60. And for the research assistant, I will have one person for the whole my project. So I will spend for $122. And yeah, that's it for the personal. And for the travel, for field trip, I will need to use motorbike. We use motorbike. We don't have a car or bus, but we cannot rent the car. So I will rent the motorbike. So I will spend about 57 each month. So total I will need to spend 121 to travel to there to save the money. If we rent the car, we need to spend a lot. So for the battle, I will need to go about 10 times, I think, to finish all my projects. Each time I will need to spend $6. So for total for the battle, I will need to spend 60. For the accommodation, actually I cannot stay at home. I have to be in Molaming, so I need a place to stay. So this is for the accommodation for me. If I go back to community and I have to come back to Molaming, so I need to spend about $87 until we finish all the projects. And for the living here, I spend for 3 months for my meal food for 270. Why I'm doing this project. And for the equipment, I have the trainee plans or trainee or workshop plans for my participant or for the Indigenous women for within or like the youth in the community concerning to early marriage or child marriage. So I here the equipment I will need to spend through that workshops or training for the printing. Maybe we need the documents to give them to for the awareness training, something like that. So I think I'll spend like $12. And other writing material like a flip chart A4, I think I will have 2 times. So I've spent 26 for the stationery, marker, tape, or like a flip chart, so we can do the discussions or we can share for that project. I need to spend 20. For the participant, I have interview. I have planned to interview 15. I already met like present in the last time. So for that, I will give 15 for each for their time. So I may need to spend $225 for that. And for the trainee, I may need to like hire a training cost. This is for them to travel to the place we will do the training. I will get an 8 for each for 2 times or 2 days. I will have about 12 to 15 participants for that. So I will need to spend $120. And yes, I have the trainees or like the community dialogues or focus group discussion. This is based on the situation, but I have planned to have a small workshops or something like this. So I may need to hire a trainer recruitment. I will have one trainer who will help me with that. So for 2 times, I will give them $145. And for the fitting for the participant food and drink, for 2 times, I may need to spend about $150 because I will have a total 15 participants in my workshops or training. And for the renter to have a place, I will need to rent. I think I will need to spend about 60 for 2 times. For the refreshment, I think I was spend about $60. I plan to spend about $60. So this is for the training I will have. And for the other direct code for traveling, I have to back from Thailand. So I need to spend like for the air ticket to get to Myanmar and accommodations. I have to spend for 2 nights to reach to my place. I cannot go back directly to get to my place. And food, I need to spend 10. Yeah, for the Wi-Fi or internet of cost. For lump sum, I plan to spend like $54. And for phone bill, for why I'm in here to contact to everyone or to the participant or like village contact person, I need to spend 9. So these are all the plans that I have, how I will spend my budget. And I have 9 for for cost. Total I will have $2,000. Yes, teacher, this is all my plans. And if you have any question, please feel free to have. And I may be happy to receive any suggestions or comment you may have for me. Thank you so much. Do you want me to stop sharing?
Gracias, muy amable por su presentación. Solo quisiera también hacer la misma observación. Creo que le hice a Daisy.
I just want to highlight, like I said to Daisy and Eileen as well.
El presupuesto que necesitamos que nos presenten no es el presupuesto de su investigación. O más bien les pregunto, este presupuesto que nos presentó Nailé, Daisy y mí, es el presupuesto
This
para
budget that you have is the budget that you have presented is your budget for your research, or is this the budget for your incidence plan? Daisy, and Mean, is this for your research plan budget, or is this the budget for your incidence plan? Mean, can you hear the question?
Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think that there's the money that we have to spend for this. I'm not sure. Yes, this is my first time, so.
Muy bien. Yo solo quiero recordarles a todas, ¿sí?
Perdón.
Sí. Muy
I
bien.
just want to remind you that the budget of the research already needs to be executed at this time. We can at this time making interviews, or we're finishing our interviews in May, but we must have already executed our research budget, and that budget was provided by FIMI. The budget that we needed to present today is the budget of our incidence plan. What are we going to do with the results of the findings and the evidence that we obtained in our research? And the incidence plan responds to a change that we are trying to achieve after we have carried out the research. And for that, we defined a stakeholders map with whom we're going to make an influence, the change we want, the objective of our plan. We defined strategies and action. To be able to move on to that incidence plan, which is done after we finish our research, we have to think of a budget. How much is that going to cost? And with what resources we have and what we're going to need. That's what we're going to, as we ask that you work on. So I'm going to ask me and all of you, because I think there's a bit of a confusion for some of you. The research budget already must be executed. Right now, the budget we're asking for is the budget for your incidents plan. I don't know if you have any questions, if there's some sort of a confusion there that we can clear up. You have any question, or is this clear? Yes, Naile, go ahead. Welcome.
Thank you, teacher. From what I understand, from me, what I presented is the budget plan on the activity, on this one, the project that I've been doing, the research. But I had just my own activity outcomes and all, and I have the budget. And I think so I shared to the module, but I thought it's the wrong budget after I had this one. So maybe for me, I understood wrongly, despite that I have another one that I prepared. So I can say in that what I presented is the current activity I'm doing, yes. So if there is more elaboration on that, can build us in order that we may know while doing this, we can come up with issues and things that we can work on them. Thank you so much.
Gracias, Nay. Sí, efectivamente, lo que usted nos presentó,
Thank you,
entendimos.
Nai. What you presented, I understood was your research budget, and that's what you uploaded to your platform. What we need now is the budget of your incidents plan. Remember that we sent you some guides to create your incidents plan, and we sent you a guide to do your stakeholders map. So having that set, having worked on that guide and that incidents plan and working on your stakeholders map and having defined the activities for the change that you wanted to achieve after the research, then we can do a budget. And that's the budget that we're looking for. I hope that that's clear. Daisy, do you have a question? Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I think I was also a bit confused as Nai. So this budget that you presented was for the incidents plan. Because for me, I had started some activities, and that is why I was explaining the number of times I'm going to the community. So I had to do like for the $2,000, and I had some bit of confusion in priorities because like I had said I wanted to go to the radio station and all that. So doing the budget, everything was like overdue. So I really needed to understand. I would like to understand more on this budget that you were to present. If there's another one, then yeah.
Muy bien. Gracias, Daisy. ¿Alguien más?
Thank you, Daisy. Anybody else has any questions so we can cover it? Okay, I'm going to ask Jenny or Jesse that do me the favor of presenting their incidents plan, that we can project it so that we can work based off of a concrete example, so that we can explain to the sisters that have that confusion. I don't know if Jesse or Jenny can help us projecting on the screen their incidents plan. Yes, I can do it. Thank you. I'm going to open it again.
Sí, por favor. Recordarles que el plan de investigación y su presupuesto, ese ya lo están ejecutando. Ananja, tal vez antes que Jesse presente.
Please remember Ananda, sorry. What is your question? You have the floor.
Teacher, we are right now, we are presenting our budget. Is this our advocacy plan? Like we did it previous class. Is this our advocacy plan that we were when we are doing research and finding, we will go with community, and is this that type of budget?
Sorry, can you repeat, because Lorena was speaking over you and I couldn't hear you. Can you repeat, please?
I'm asking you, is this our advocacy plan budget? Because I prepare my budget plan, but it was according to the research plan. So I just asking you that I'm little bit confused about, is this our research project budget or it's a advocacy plan budget?
Presupuesto que hoy tendríamos que presentar.
The budget that we're presenting today is for the advocacy or incidents, the advocacy or action plan. That's the one we need you to present today. Just like Jenny, Jesse, Lisa, and Tamai, they presented their budget on the incident or advocacy plan. That's not the research plan budget because we're executing that and we know that one. The one we need you to work on is for your action and or advocacy plan. I don't know if that's clear.
Yes,
but
it
it's
is.
even more clear.
Muy bien. Perfecto. Vamos a ver.
Okay, perfect. We're going to see, we're going to ask Jessie if she can project her plan and her budget so that we can see an actual example. This is the plan and this is my budget. This is the budget. Jessie, do you have your plan so that we can see an actual example? Here is the budget for, here it says budget for incidents or advocacy plan of the millennium knowledge of Nanawa women in regards to taking care of water in the Hidalguense Huasteca. So that is the budget for her advocacy plan of the activities that she's going to implement. Talk to us, Jessie, so that we can clear everybody up on what we're looking for. Okay, in my opinion, for all of you, is that as organization or as working groups, when we're looking for to create an advocate, to have an incidence on any policy with any concrete actions in the communities, well, it's a process that has a lot of stages. So the initial main stage is the research stage, to know directly the problematics of the region. So that period of research is what we are finishing in FIMI right now, with the help of FIMI right now. So for that research period, FIMI provided some funds. So, but I understand that what we're doing right now in this stage and in this course as well goes beyond research, because the idea is to develop as researchers certain skills, and one of them is to have the ability to create an advocacy plan, which is what follows the research plan. So an advocacy or action plan requires more work, especially because we have to look for alliances to establish agreements with the authorities and institutions. What we have identified in our advocacy, in our stakeholders map, at a national, local, and state level. So when we try to coordinate to achieve this advocacy or this incidence, political incidence or impact, I see that we need higher budgets, because we're not going to achieve political incidents in 6 months. Sometimes these are processes that last 1, 2, 3 years, depending on what we're trying to have an impact on. So hence, it does require more money because we have to coordinate these meetings with institutions. If we're thinking of doing regional forums, if we're thinking of doing women encounters, so we have to spend money on research, on food, on board, a room and board, whatever it is that we are trying to analyze, we have analyzed that we want to do in our advocacy plan. So I thought, and based off of that, I made an effort to do an advocacy plan that lasted a year-long plan. And this budget, this one-year budget, contemplates several factors: personnel, material that's going to be spent to these counters, the expenses for room and board and food and transportation, as well as the different expenses that we're going to incur in when we are in these forums that are written down in our advocacy plan, in my advocacy plan. So here I have personnel, and here I have contemplated paying a session to the coordination of the project, a person for communication that is going to be in charge of sending out and making people aware of the different activities and creating materials to upload to the network, the social networks. And this is based on the needs of each organization or each group. For example, we don't have someone in our work team that has these communication abilities. If we did, then maybe we wouldn't add this, because we already have somebody who has these skills and can work with these platforms, communication platforms. But since we don't have one, we need somebody who has these skills to create this content that we need to, really get the word around, or get the word out that of what we're doing. We're talking about radio, somebody has experience in radio or social networks, somebody who can draft different documents so that we can communicate effectively what we're trying to do. And within these activities, incidence activities, we have contemplated to invite people who are specialists, which means some professionals that are specialized in subjects that can share their opinion, or for example, that they can invite people from other organizations that have or that work in similar topics. So in my case, environment and water, and that have already many years of experience, have experiences of success that can help us and provide examples for us of what we need to do. And just what Liz was saying, always contemplating that these people, their professional ethics is going to go according to what we're looking for, no? Meaning, for example, the project is about respect and valuing traditional knowledge of Indigenous women, because epistemic justice is one of our transversal axes. So the personnel that specialize their work needs to be according to what we're proposing. So here we have money for the didactic material, which are the cardboard and the poster paper, all the material we're going to use, meetings, forums, or whatnot. And what I was commenting is that some of the materials we already have from previous projects, so we can recycle them. I also commented that the work team, as a working group, we have a professional camera, a drone, a projector, a screen to project, we have a printer. So these are materials that we already have and that we can use and avoid spending on that. We also have contemplated money for meetings and events for those who are going to coordinate the meetings, and for the guests as well. So here is to make an effort to sort of calculate what it's going to mean in money. For example, how much is going to cost of food, or how much it's going to cost for lunch or breakfast. And I was commenting that, moving around in public transportation is a little complicated. But as a collective, we also have the use of a bus that we can use, that we have. And so what we do is that we are going to work with that, and we're going to only spend money on gas. And so we take into consideration expenditures that we've done before, of trips that we've done before, what we spent, and then we know. And in this forum that we expect is going to be 5, there's some margin of money that to support those people who are going to be present that might need support, especially thinking Indigenous women, because a lot of them that are dedicate their lives to their work, to their home, they don't have an income, or their midwives, they don't have an income, but they do that work because of the gift they have. It's a spiritual gift that has been provided for them, and that's why they don't have to charge for that. So they don't make any financial gain. They don't have financial gain off of that. They tend to the people that go to them, but they don't ask for any money in return. Because we understand that it is a gift that has been given to them and they don't charge for them. So these are women who, let's say, don't have the resources to move or to like move out of their homes and go to these events. So we're thinking of them. And there's also this space where we provide food, because as I said before, the region is very hot. Areas right now, we have been reaching the 45 degrees of temperature. And every time we do an event like this, we try to have at least water as a basic refreshment so people can hydrate, and maybe any other snack maybe. So this is my exercise for the budget. I also comment, to me, doing the exercise is very positive, because for a lot of us, it's hard to make budgets. Everything that has to do with money and conversions is difficult. But I think this is really worth it, because it's going to allow us to become familiar with this, which means that we are not, which doesn't mean that this is something that's finished or that I'm going to present it as such, because I've noticed that here in Mexico, when it's a financial, when it's financed, when it's a state or financing, it's very reduced, and each pledge has their own restrictions in regards to the budget. So whenever you want to do a pledge to do a project, it's going to finance you with $3,000. The same call out says you have 1,000 for the field work, you have 1,000 for the actual product or the research. And I think it's an example, right? I don't know. And within those rules, we have our own. They have their own rules. It's themselves. For example, they prohibit paying specialized people, and sometimes they bring their own format to establish the budget. And within these formats, you have to also place or specify us as organization or collective, what do we have to have this incident plan, to carry out this incident plan. So it's a very valuable exercise. It's worth it. I think we can make it fit to different projects or financial plans that we are looking for. For example, a few days ago, I saw a project of environmental leaders in America, and it was an international project that was looking to receive proposals from people from the United States, Canada, and Mexico in subjects that had as a result to mitigate climate change. So since these are international organisms, their budget is higher. And so there's a little bit more freedom in regards to paying for personnel, or maybe it adds money for a publication. So it's all in regards to what, depending on who's going to finance the project. And that's what I can share. Thank you. Thank you, Jessie. The idea to listen to Jessie. I just want to remind you then that your incidents plan is what you're going is the budget you're going to present is the budget for your incidents or action plan. This is the work that Samai did. And based off of working this part, we can do our stakeholders map, which is the other homework, which was the other homework. We define, and I'm just going to scroll really quickly. Here, but we have the schedule. Here's the sensibilization. Has this, the strategy has these actions, and these are the different actions and strategies for really we have to find. So based on these strategies and actions, we have to establish the budget of this plan, this incidents plan. And it's the budget that we are requesting that you present. And it's the budget that Jessie was showing us again, so that we can share. It's not her research budget, it's her budget for her action plan, which is why I'm inviting all the people who are completing these exercises and doing their actors map to define their strategies. And once you've concluded with this, we can move forward to the budget stage. If we have this very well stated, we have this well defined, we can create this incidents budget, meaning what's coming after the research. And I want to present this other a presentation to remind you the process that we're living at this time. Thank you.
Primero agradecerles el esfuerzo de todas, el trabajo hecho del presupuesto, pedirles a las compañeras que tuvieron esa.
We are going to ask the sisters that had this confusion. I hope that they're clear. And what we need is for them to work their budget. For them is an exercise. You have to build the stakeholders map and this budget with the people that we're working with the community. But since we've already done this research, we have the results of the research, then what we can do is validate what we have already worked on. The idea is that that plan and that budget is not of the researcher, but a researcher is going to accompany their implementation with the community, with the group and the organization. So now I'm going to show you my screen and to what's corresponding or what we need to do. Here, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? Okay, first, we have to remind you the process. We did our research, our field research. We did our research plan. All the month of May is to conclude or do all the field work in the communities, in the territories, where we're defining to do this research. This is the basis where we want for you to finish, or some of you already have, but we would need to finish our field work this week, Friday 31st, and do some adjustments that you have, maybe, and do them on Sunday, for example, so that you can continue to do your research report during this week. Or maybe you've already started. Where is this incidence plans coming from? From the evidence that we find in our research. We find a specific problem, we're not going to solve it all, but we do establish a change that we want as a result of the research. And that change, we're going to establish in the incidence plan. And we're going to define an actors map, objectives, strategies, and actions. To comply with these actions, we need to have this budget, like the one we had, like the one that was presented by the Latin America sisters. We have to fine-tune your plan and your research, and it could be worked on with the community. Having this report and the plan, we are going to have two documents as a result of the research. The report of the case study, and now we're going to present it. For that, we're going to have three different moments. Again, I'm going to repeat this scheme. The research or case study, it represents a problematic evidence, change, resilience that the community or the people and the women have. But I don't stay with a study and to see problematic. The work that we have is our incident plan. And we have to implement it. And for that, we need our budget. And we need a process, a monitoring and evaluation process. What corresponds for our period is the field research all month of May. Who are people responsible? The researchers. And then the work. This is not virtual because it's you guys gone to the territories yourselves. The creation of the incidence plan could be a part of May and finishes in June, including a participatory process in the territories and the communities. Who needs to do that? The researcher. No, it's not virtual, it's in person because you're going to do it in the community. All this is in person because you're doing it directly in the territories. In person. Afterward, we have the report of the draft report we should do in the territory, and it's also in person. We're all going to work as a result of starting in June. You're going to work on your report. You're going to have your advances. It's going to be your first draft. The creation of the incidence plan is also done in June. Who's in charge of that? You are in charge of that. So having these two products, the report, the draft report of the case study, the creation of the plan and incidents draft, we're going to present it. We're going to do the first presentation. I think we already have the dates, but it's in the June 7th and the 10th. I don't have exact data. When we want you to present your first draft of your research, then we're going to do
investigación y de su plan la vamos a tener el 7 y el 10 de junio.
And we'll do this on the 7th and the 10th of June. The presentation of the second version. This you will do to Angela, to Dune, Manadia, and me. And then we'll make observations for it. So that with the changes and observations that we give you, you can prepare a plan once again, a second version. And then you're going to present this to the experts that we're going to invite in a virtual presence. Then you're going to present a more finished, better prepared presentation. Dune will then give me the dates afterwards that we have for these two events. Then with the observations given from the experts, you'll prepare your final document, the case study, and the budget and final incidence plan and budget. And this will be on the last week of June.
so that you make that first delivery of your studies in July, the first week of July, so that we can still have a research, make the final changes, so that by July 15th be done and be prepared for August. Is this clear for you? This means May, we're finishing the research and fields. And if you're writing already, even better. That's the information that I wanted to give you. Now, if you have questions or comments. Tunen, please. Just so that we all synchronized in terms of the date. Next session on Friday will be teacher Angela giving it. Then we have presentations by the participants. The first round will be 4 and 7 of June. This means that each one of you will present your research cases. Each one of you will have 15 minutes. And we're going to do them by topics. It's not going to be only Asia or Africa or America, but topics. Gender violence, access to education. It's going to be by each one of the topics. And you're going to present that first round. Then you're going to have a second round on the 14th and the June 18th. And this second round of presentation, the objective is that the participants have already incorporated the comments given by Lorena and Angela. And then on June 25th, we have some external commenters who are guests for us. And then you're going to give them 15 minutes of presentation.
Esta fase virtual del Diplomado en Investigación Intercultural. De esto se trata las sesiones que vienen. Y esto es importante que lo tengan.
This is important that you take into account because based on the dates that Ms. Lorena gave us.
Muy bien. Presenté aquí en la pantalla para que ustedes vean las fechas que nos indican.
These are the dates that Dunan was mentioning. Then Angela got the last session on the 31st. Then 4 and 7, the first round of presentations. They're going to send the information later on with the progress you made on your research. 14 and 18, based on the observations given here, you have to put them over there here on the present them again. And then 21 and 25, we'll have some guests, more finished product, 21 and 25th, with external guests. And then the presentations based on topics. This is with us internally, and this is our externally. So I'm going to ask you to take that into account. We'll send this information as well in a more detailed manner so that you're all informed. And we want to listen to you now. Dunan, would you like something else to say?
No, señora.
Muy bien, entonces vamos, por favor. Si hay preguntas, Nukila, por favor.
Nukila, you have a question?
Yes, correct me if I'm wrong, that on 7 and 14 of June, it will be, we will have to present the first draft of our research, right?
Sí.
And then we
4
got
y 7, el primer borrador.
4 and 7 is the first draft. Then the next ones are the ones Going to present it again with the feedback you received on the first time, with changes and adjustments that are given based on the feedback on the 14/7.
Okay.
Then the 21 and 27, you'll have like a more better finished version with all the feedback given, and you'll provide that to the external guest. Thank you, Nukila. Jenny?
Yo tengo una pregunta para el día
I have
de
a
la primera
question.
ronda de presentaciones. Sería más bien como una presentación así como en PowerPoint de
This will be like a PowerPoint presentation, giving the results on what we have, or is it a document that we're presenting? Like the ones that we're preparing on Word, where we have the whole protocol. We're going to have two aspects. We're going to send you a guide. We already know the chapter book. But then on Word, we're going to present them a guide on how we need to be structured so that you can, in this first presentation, you have sent to the chat the progress that you've made on that report. And then for the presentation itself, on the 4th to 7th, we'll send you a guide for a PowerPoint presentation so that you can just put the information that is more relevant. But that will be based on the Word document that you already sent to us. So you have two documents, a Word document and then a presentation on PowerPoint, which is the one that you're going to give us with the most relevant parts of the presentation. Is that clear? You'll receive guide for both things anyway. You'll receive the template for both things. How about the time? Now I want to ask you about the time. This is next week. How are you feeling? Like honestly talking, are you ready to present to us?
Yo tengo como un comentario. Hubiera sido como maravilloso tener este cronograma cuando
I wish
planteábamos
you had this timeline when we were doing the
la investigación que realizamos del estudio de caso, porque dentro del cronograma algunas de nosotras creo que incluso incluíamos hasta julio el proceso de estudio de caso como tal. Entonces a mí me preocupa un poco.
So for me, I'm a little bit concerned that we are able to go too fast and that it doesn't have the quality that it represents us. That because had we taken this timeline before, we put it properly, the commitment would have been that we can present it, but also thinking on the quality of the time and the timeline that we had already established at the beginning, that I think I put it until July, thinking that the presentation was going to be like in August already. But yes, I think it's just to talk about it in the past. This is my first impression. Yeah, this is just to remember the timeline that we sent to you establishes the classes are until July 25th. And that's where you're going to present the work, preliminary. And then the meeting that is for postponed to July, August. And just to have that clarity in the dates. Yes, see?
Sí, yo también voy un poco.
Yes,
Concuerdo con lo que dices.
I agree with what Tamay mentions because
Yo también, por ejemplo, en mi cronograma.
I also, my timeline, I have activity until the beginning of June. And let's say, not so much that it was my intention to but to be alignment in alignment with the times of the community. So it was a responsibility. I'm just able to present something in the data you're giving us. We will show you the progress. Regardless, in my case, I'll present what I have made progress on, but it won't. But according to my timeline, I still have activities until the end of June, beginning of July, and like saying also a bit of empathy from FIMI, because these are processes that sometimes are out of our reach because they just go in accordance with the timelines with the communities. We celebrate the elections next week, and that's a period that's very hard to get together publicly because of this. And it's been a very hard electoral process here. So it's also thinking on the integrity of the people and ourselves. So each one of us also has their own activities and situations, I guess, inconveniences. Any other comment regarding to this? This is important that we talk about, because I do remember that we asked that our field work was going to be done in May, because in July we had the meeting. But it's supposed to be by July, we should have been done. And we already had a timeline. Nonetheless, we have to review this. And then we'll discuss it again internally with Nadia to define, because the idea is not to put the priority of delivering this information because without and having the quality, but also give us limits on the time, because we need to advance. Because even if the event is until August, doesn't mean that the research has to be delayed. Yeah, by June, the research, it's a little bit hard, but to analyze it, because this is a process that needs to be participative. Estas fechas como para que veamos en qué punto estamos. Creo que lo vamos a revisar, lo vamos a platicar a lo interno como FIMI para poder tener una We'll talk about this internally as FIMI. El viernes 31. Naile, usted tiene la palabra. Tiene levantada la mano. Somebody raise your hand. You're free to speak now.
Yes, Teacher Lorena, thank you so much. And I appreciate on the schedule that you have just shared. But I had a request, if it is possible, because some of the activity in regards to the methodology we shared, for instance, what I shared, there are issues that align with the month of June. If it is possible, in order to acquire some of the information that I need to be, and they're important also, if it is possible for you to, for the first week of June, we work on it, if it's okay in that schedule, so that it may help us, it may help me actually, and others, if there is any, to acquire some of the information that we intend to get. For instance, I work with the issues of one of the methodology I was using was the gathering of the community. And this gathering starts at June, specifically at June. But because my reporting was supposed to be on June, I arranged at the first week of June, I can meet some of the people at least to acquire the information. If that week is possible, I'll be glad. But if it's also not possible, I'll go with the schedule. There's no problem. That was just a request, if possible. Thank you.
Muy bien, Nailini. Bueno, yo
Thank
creo
you.
que escucharlas era fundamental.
Okay, it was very important to listen to all of you, looking at the timeline as well, so that we can see where we are, where are the limits in our time. And I think that we can dialogue this in agreement and repeat. The quality of information is not based on the product that we're making. Then you have to make a dialogue here internally, see to your proposals, to Nadia and all of you, and give your response by the 31st to see if we make adjustments on the timeline, so that we can complete the process of participation that you are doing, and also to complete with the commitment that you have with the whole process. So if you agree, can we take the 10 minutes right now, please? You need the 10 minutes?
Por mi parte podríamos continuar, si es que todo.
We could continue. Somebody says.
Podemos continuar y trato de... Sí, voy a continuar. La idea es...
Okay, I'll continue.
Tercer momento de la jornada.
This third part of the moment of today is to talk about our incidents plan. We're going to work on
Acá está. Vamos a ver. ¿Me dicen si se ve la presentación? Esto ya. Vamos a trabajar. Nuestra jornada de hoy es pasos básicos.
we're going to work on the basic steps to create indicators. Indicators of what? Indicators for our incident plan.
Monitorear y verificar que el plan, para poder hacer monitoreo y evaluación de nuestro plan de incidencia, necesitamos definir algunos indicadores. Entonces, aquí tengo categorías de indicadores. Hay indicadores cuantitativos, estos son cuando se utilizan medidas estadísticas para medir los logros en número o en porcentaje.
This is the percentages and numbers. So that we could have indicators that you're going to be using. You're going to be quantitative or combine them as a qualitative or quantitative. So these are changes and the usefulness of these changes where you project the action. So the indicators are going to state what changes you're going to see and the outcome you're going to get from that with the objective. And that these changes are to be done, for example, in the empowerment, in the practice. Let's just say the objective is to formulate a care defense of water in a zona de gas. This is what we want to reach. We want to create a participation in that sense. The indicator for this, what do we want? Well, we want to see a change in 80% of the women and the families in the zone are or have knowledge, they have been sensitized on the sacred value of water, per se. Another one would be 80% of the institutions that are in the region commit themselves to invest resources in implementing something. Just saying, qualitative or quantitative in an indicator. Objective and outcome indicators, and this is a topic that, this is just an example. The first step, you need to be clear of the objective that you want.
Seguimos en la diapositiva del cronograma.
Ay, aquí, ahora sí.
Ahora sí, categorías de indicadores.
Me dicen, acá está. Entonces, las categorías de indicadores
So we have the
cuantitativos
outcome, the indicators, qualitative and quantitative.
Luego, indicadores de objetivos.
Then we have the outcome objectives, indicators, I'm sorry. I won't, this is as far as I can see it. But you need to be clear of the objective. The objective, the example that I gave you is provide attention to the indigenous towns based on the international instruments, legal procedures, and the legal institutes that provide legal persecution. This is just an example of an objective of the public ministry. So it's just an example. 2, first step is to be clear of the objective. Second step is to specify the amount for the indicator. 80% of the fiscal staff of at least 80% of the districts in the municipalities with major index of indigenous population. Meaning, who are going to provide us this attention? At least 80% of the fiscal staff. And in 80% of the districts where there is indigenous people. Then define the coverage. Where are they located? Located in 18 departments with greater population of indigenous people. Fourth step, describe the quality. This fiscal staff of the 18 departments, what do they want to do? They're going to serve on the local language
en los instrumentos internacionales en favor de
based on international documents indigenous people. That's the quality that we want to achieve. Then we define time between the years 2018 and 2021.
Entonces, cuando seguimos estos pasos, vamos primero especificando, primer paso, cantidad.
We're going to be defining the quantities. First is the objective, then the quantities, then the coverage, or geographic zone where we want to have this action promoted. Then we're going to define the quality, the change that we want to see, and then define the timeline. What timeline, what period we're going to take. And then this is what it looks like. 80% of the staff of at least 80% of the district places with indigenous people located in 18 municipalities, 18 departments, I'm sorry, attend in the local language with pertinence based on the international document in favor of indigenous towns. In the indigenous people between the years 2018 and 2021. That way, that's what it looks like. Let me take this away. This is what it looks like. The first step, you need to understand the objective. Then define the coverage. We find this matrix and then we do the work. This is just an indicator of objectives. Now,
indicadores de resultados.
Now here, the results indicator, our plan is going to have results. What are they? How are these indicators defined? The objective is this one, to provide attention with a cultural pertinence, specialized and pertinence, with support in the international tools, with the process institutes that need to be applied by the different auditors. The results to achieve this indicator is strengthening the opportune and effective communication of the different auditors of the indigenous communities of cases of interest, as an example as well. So the first step is to have the results that we want clear. The second step is the amount. In this case, 80%, the 80% of the DAs at a municipal level. And the third step is to define the coverage or geographical area. What DAs are within the departments that have the most indigenous community inhabitants? Then what changes we want to achieve? Oh, that the DA's office establish agreements with authorities and they bring reports of interest case in the victim's originary languages. The fifth step, the time from 2018 to 2021. How is our indicator going to look? What is our indicator going to look like as a result of this? 30% of the DA's office in the 18 departments with the highest index of indigenous population community define an agreement with authorities, and we could say how many authorities, and they provide monthly reports of cases, and we can even establish an approximate number of cases. The indicator allows us to establish qualitative and quantitative measures, interest cases in the originary language of the victims from the year 2018. So we have the result and the indicators, and the steps are 5 steps to design an indicator. Afterwards, we can have this result, a guide, once we have integrated our plan. Because what we have right now are tools where we have carried out some actions. The idea is to integrate it into our plan. The results, which is a result for each strategy. So if we have the sensibilization strategy, we have to reflect the result. And the activities to achieve that result, what year I'm going to carrying it out in, and what period, how long, is it 1 or 2 years, or is it a trimester? What resources I'm going to use, which is what we were clarifying when we did the budget. And here we have data, productivity, because we have built our budget and who's going to do it. So this is our matrix. And now we have defined the objectives and the indicators, the results and their indicators as well. Those would be the ones that we would need to finish our incidents plan. I don't know, do you have any questions? Fatima, I know you had some issues with the interpretation. Is there any questions that you have? It's not just enough to have an incidents plan, we need to implement it. Okay, Fatima, do you have any question?
Yeah, actually, what you people were projecting at times, you know, when the connection is not good, so to get the interpretation is difficult. Then they use Spanish now to put on the screen, so I'm not understanding. That's
why. Okay. Do you have any specific questions?
Yeah, no, not really. Like it's something specific, but actually, what you were talking now that you just projected on the screen now about the objective, so I don't understand what you were talking about. So if it is, there is possibility now, they should project it in English, so you know when you can read now, you easily understand. Yes.
Muy bien. Para contarle, gracias, Fatima.
Okay, thank you, Fatima, for your comment. What I'm explaining now is that we already have our advocacy plan that each one of you already worked on. Your advocacy plan has an objective and it has strategies. What I suggest is that for each strategy, we build a result, and having that clear for your objective of your advocacy plan, you're going to extract 1 or 2 indicators to measure the advance in reaching your goal. In your results, you're going to extract 1 or 2 indicators to see how your advocacy plan is moving forward. That's what I'm explaining now. What we're going to do is that we're going to provide the presentations in English in the platform so that we can understand a little better. I repeat, what are we doing now? We are speaking of how we are building indicators for the objective and the results of our incident plan. Does that make sense? Were you able to catch it now? Thank you for your question, Fatima.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I've understood now. Thank you.
Muy bien, muchas
Please,
gracias
is
y
it going to
disculpe
be
que
in
todo
our
esté todavía.
final project? We are to do it now as well.
Sorry, can you repeat, Fatima?
Yeah, I was asking what you just explained now. Are we when we are writing our final project, are we going to put it inside the final project?
Sí. Sí, en el plan de incidencia ya les voy a enviar también una guía.
Yes, in your advocacy plan, I'm going to send you a guide of what it's going to look like within your advocacy plan, because what you have worked are tools. Once you have your guides and your tools and your matrix ready, what she means by tools is matrix. Once you have your matrices ready, you'll be able to work to integrate it into your report, and you have to include it in your final report, in your advocacy plan though. And so what I'm going to teach you is once your matrix are completed, we're going to be able to incorporate it, and I'll teach you how to do that. Afterwards, after we have our advocacy plan done and we're able to implement it, which is going to be after August, and hopefully you are able to obtain resources or have it or impose it with your own resources. We have to do monitoring processes and follow-up processes, because one of the biggest voids that advocacy plans have is that they're not executed, or they are left halfway and they're not evaluated how they're being implemented. So today we're going to give you some basic ideas of what are the steps to do monitoring and follow-up. No, I'm sorry. Hold on. This is not it. There it is. No, wait. Okay. Can you see the presentation?
¿Vemos la presentación? Muy bien. Sí. ¿Se corre esta otra? La primera. ¿Y ahora? Muy bien, me voy a quedar así.
I'm going to stay right here. So why are we doing monitoring and follow-up of the incidents plans? Because we have a responsibility that they're not left in just in good intentions, that we don't leave them in good intentions. And that's what we cite that phrase, to leave a trace, to generate an impact and change and transformation within the Indigenous communities in terms of the right to the access to justice, access to education, to land, to a land free of violence. Monitoring leads us to think that everything we do has to leave a trace and it needs to advance. Monitoring is not a process that it's just about teaching us that we're working. We need to really make sure that our incidents plan is actually working and it has a life, that it has a heart, that it's moving forward within the communities, not implemented just by us as researchers. We are going to accompany the process, but the community, the women, the leadership, and other actors are moving forth and are coming into the process of implementation and see if we're really working, and what are the different, what is our footprint, what are we leaving behind in the communities. So this takes into consideration 3 moments: teachings, changes, and effects and impacts, to see if what I wanted to achieve in my incidents plan is actually happening. What knowledge is this process leaving behind? What changes am I achieving? And what impacts am I achieving with the implementation of my incident plan? Monitoring, following up, and accompaniment. Meaning I can't say, oh, here's your incident plan, I'm done. You figure out how you're going to, what you're going to do with it. No, it's my job to accompany and follow up and provide a support to the group, to the women, to the organization, to the leaders, to the community, so that their plan can move forward. And the analysis and revision and changes that we want. The plan is this, what we want to look forward to, and the changes we want to create are different. So for that, the monitoring process leads us to identify teachings and see effects and impacts, and to provide a follow-up and accompaniment to the processes. That's what's important in terms of the monitoring processes and follow-up processes of our plan. What's the cycle of the plan, of the planification process and evaluation process? First of all, is to establish the mission and vision of what we want to achieve, the change, define the results map, and the framework within of the process we want to develop. To plan for the follow-up and evaluation, yes, we would have to carry out a plan, a follow-up plan, or an evaluation plan to say, okay, well, I already have my incidents plan, I'm already executing it. Now I'm going to design a monitoring plan, implement follow-up, and manage the evaluation. What's ideal is that we do an evaluation even of the research process, and that we carry out an evaluation of the implementation process of our incidents plan. That's what would be ideal. Another element, step one, to do a monitoring plan is to define the objective of the plan. What do I want to achieve with my monitoring plan? In this case, with the monitoring plan of the advocacy program, first of all, is to fill out a basic form, indicators of results. Here we establish the results of the advocacy plan, the indicators of those results. So one result per strategy, the indicator, sources of information, where am I going to obtain information to see that this change that I'm proposing in my indicator is actually being achieved? What are the means of collecting data? What methods am I going to use to carry together data? Sources of information could be documents, incidents plan, formulation of policies. For example, another source could be even the mayorship or the commission was created. There was a network of protection for nonviolence for women of the for elderly women. That's an evidence, a change, and I can go to them. What methods can I use? Research, meetings, or different kinds of interviews. What activities am I going to carry out to obtain the information that I need? How often am I going to carry out this monitoring, and who's going to be responsible? This would be kind of like the basic matrix to do a basic monitoring plan of our incidents plan. First step, define the objective of my monitoring plan. And two, I fill out this form, this basic form. That would be kind of for you to have that information. What techniques can we use to gather information from monitoring process? Physical measurements, so gathering information in time in relation to a specific indicator, applying a unit of measure of a procedure. Another technique is direct observation. What does it imply? Participate, to observe concrete events, facts that have to do with, or behaviors that have to do with the indicator that I'm monitoring. Another one is the participatory observation. It's when a person that observes is involved directly. They're not just already sitting down observing, they're part of the activities and they're involved in the context where they are. So it's not at a distance. That allows for you to do some monitoring, in very close monitoring. Another technique that we can use is the list for control of questions. And here we do a series of questions. We make a series of questions that could be applied as a guide, as conversations, or as informal surveys to ask what they're looking at. If our change is to build a public policy for the care of water, we want to provide some monitoring on this. We're going to build a questionnaire or a survey directed to the Commission of Environment of the municipality. So what do you know about the problems of the water? How do you see, what do you think about the compliance on public policy? Is there an interest in the sectors that are destined to provide support on this, for example? So we do a list of questions related to the change that we defined in the indicator. Another technique is interviews. And here we can do a dialogue in the shape of questions. These questions are designed to obtain information on the experience and the opinion of people on the aspect that we are monitoring. Another technique is focal groups. We gather a group to ask them on the advances of the indicator that we're monitoring. Analysis of critical events is another technique. And here we have interviews with individuals or people or groups based off of events or incidents so that we can have information on a specific event that has to do with the indicator that I am monitoring. Another technique is a transversal walk or participatory walk, which consists of making a planned trip in a geographical area that has been planned out to observe changes. For example, in one of my indicators, it says that one of my changes I want to achieve is reforestation in my incidence plan. So 2 years in, I will go walk that area and have a tour of that area where the indicator says it needs to be replanted, and that's going to show me if my results are really happening, if I'm achieving what I want. Another one could be, we said we were going to clean the water sources. We're going to have a walkthrough in the water sources to verify that really there are cleaning, they're cleaning the water sources. And now that there's no waste there and there's a weekly or monthly cleaning process of the water sources, that's what a walkthrough could help us with. The diaries is a registry of data or events or actions or opinions in time from the entries drafted by people or groups. So I go and I fill out a diary based on during time, based on the indicators that I'm monitoring, and I register these changes. And these changes, I see it in the municipal corporation. Here I see it in the municipality. These changes I can witness in the women. I see these changes in the leaders. For example, according to my indicators, monitoring or videos that allow us to check on changes based off of a series of photographs or videos that we take. So we say, even if we're not on the field, we have pictures and we can compare. This is what it looked like before that we identified in our research. And these are the changes that we had as a goal in our incidence plan. And our pictures allow us to see a before and after of what we have been doing and trying to achieve. Reports on the implementation plan, reports based on a specific format that have questions. We're going to have a basic format, and the idea is that you create your own format to register the advances based on the indicators. This would be basically, I think we won't be able to get to that level because of what each phase implies, but those who can move forward on that and think on a monitoring plan of your incidence plan, it's key. And maybe we can discuss this later in the August session that we're going to have in person. But the idea is that your plan doesn't remain as a list of good intentions, but that our incidence plan has a life and is applied, and we can provide follow-up and we can monitor it and evaluate. That would be it for today. I don't know if you have any questions or comments for me in regards to what I shared. So now we have defined what is our incidence plan, what is our stakeholders map, how to do our budget. Today we looked at how to build indicators and results and some basic rules to carry out monitoring of our incidence plans. So now what's our homework? Please finish your guide, please, of your incidence plan. Make and or fine-tune your stakeholders map, make your budget. And please, I would ask for each of you that now that you have an objective, so define at least 2 objectives for your change, for your change proposed, and for each strategy, establish a result. So make sure that you can establish what results you're going to achieve and at least 2 indicators per strategy or per result that I define that my strategies are going to have. And I'm going to ask that you have that ready to upload to Moodle by Monday of next week, please. So we're going to do a revision of everything so that each of the tutors can provide an observation to your plans and your budgets and your indicators of your incidence plan. And encourage you to continue with your field research. We're going to take into consideration the request today in terms of time, and we're going to inform you on the 31st. I think we're done with for today. Jesse, go ahead. You have the floor.
No, gracias.
No, thank you. I'm fine. I hope that what we're working on, maybe time is very short. We hope that we can have some space in the in-person, in the August in-person session so that we can look at some aspects and that this serves not only for this process, but for the process that you implement in other subjects that you're working on in other areas. So if we have nothing else to discuss, we want to thank you. Have a good day, good afternoon, and good night. And we'll see you on the 31st with Angela. And also we would ask that on Monday we can upload all the homeworks that we have left so that to see how you guys are moving forward and see if there are any voids and we can provide any feedback on tutorings. And we're gonna go ahead and redo and start again on the tutorings. In my case, the sisters of Latin America that accompany, I'm gonna send a schedule, and the sisters from Asia and Africa, Angela is also going to send you a schedule to strengthen your tutoring sessions and you feel accompanied in this phase to finish your field work and to carry out or write your reports. Thank you so much and have a great day. Good night.